Same outfit, different show. Welcome to the Huskers Happy Hour. Glad to have all of you back as people start filing on into the room. Man, it's so close, so juiced. Arrowhead Stadium Thursday. There was almost a disaster. I'd never gotten the email because we were supposed to get an email from the Arrowhead folks to confirm that to give us our parking passes, which would also be a way of confirming that our credentials would be waiting for us. Didn't get the email. Asked the good people in the Husker Athletic Department to see what's going on, and apparently the application was in went to junk email. I don't give them any crap for this down there because my junk email has just been doing awful things the past several months, really taking it upon itself to junk email stuff that shouldn't be junk emailed. And I'm even finding, because you can VIP your stuff on the iPhone email, you can VIP them, and even some of the VIP stuff's going into the junk email, and irritating as hell. So, but good news, they got a hold, got me a late credential, got my parking pass confirmed, so all's good. I'll be in Arrowhead on Thursday night, and man, geez, how's everybody doing? I sat there thinking, man, I don't really have a whole lot, and then I got to about 6 or 7 things to go over, and there's plenty of stuff to talk about. I thought one thing we'd do right away was Monday yesterday, talked to both the coordinators, and then we didn't know it at the time, but we were also talking to 4 of the captains. I thought I'd just talk about some of the things they talked about that didn't quite make it into a tweet or whatever, or into an article. And was it Dana Holgerson came up first? Dana's always a crack up. He's always delivering a snappy retort here or there. I still remember it was like shortly after we hired DeKeel Shorts as our wide receivers coach from Kentucky. Kind of got the DeKeel Shorts Dainty, to like a little bow tie on both of them. Well, he'd played for Holgo, he coached for Holgerson, and but then somebody asked Holgerson, "Hey, when did you know DeKeel Shorts would make a great coach?" And Holgerson said, "After we saw when he ran for a 40 time at his pro day." Just kind of little wry smile there. He had a good one here. Was it somebody asked him, hey, you've got, on the depth chart, you've got 3 oars at left tackle, 2 oars at right tackle, so you've got 5 guys all listed first string, and he goes, so it's like, do you actually intend to try and play all 5 of them? And Holgerson just looks and goes, well, yeah, that's sort of what the oar means. And then he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. And by then everybody's kind of like, wow, firing strays at some poor guy. That one cracked me up. What did Holgo have to say? He's ready to go. He seems pretty excited for him. He said he loved neutral site games. It's like he said there's a bit, you don't know there's gonna be some jitters, but he said that's just normal. Just means you're ready to play. He said the offense is so ready for a real game. I got a lot of likes on a tweet where I popped out because Dylan came out that day, and somebody asked him how ready everybody was to finally strap on, go up against another team, and Raul with kind of a smile goes, well, I know our defense is really eager to hit a quarterback, and not just this one standing here in front of you. And so that was pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, he goes, that's sort of what or means when he asked if he'd seen multiple guys. He said that Isaiah Hunter, the Cal transfer, really came on in the last week. I believe I'll put a depth chart up and we'll talk about that. But yeah, he kind of came. You weren't hearing his name a lot. They were throwing out, but apparently the last week he really turned it on, and so he's listed at one of the wideouts. They've got the wideouts are what the starting wideouts would be Hunter, Dane Key, and Jacory, and I'm assuming Jacory will be in the slot again like he was last year. And then they asked me, do you prefer the booth or the sideline? And he was 100% likes being on the sideline. Let's see. And then John Butler came out. He seemed concerned, so I don't know if it was a problem in practice or not, but he said the only downfall would be poor tackling. He was really emphasizing how they had to shore up some poor tackling issues. He didn't sound too worried about it, but he said you can design all the plays, do all the reads, all the right coverages, but if you can't tackle properly, then it all just goes to hell. They asked him about the excitement of playing in Arrowhead, and I think some people might have forgotten, who he was employed by beforehand. But as he put it, he goes, I've been in Arrowhead a few times, and they haven't been cheering for us there because he came in there with Buffalo for a couple of AFC title games, I believe. And the players talk about Butler as a real high-energy guy, but also a real student of the game, like a real football nerd, quizzes them. And so he's kind of that, combination of the nerd and the nut. And I don't know if he can quite reach his Eckler levels, but he says, he has to try and calm it down. And they did say, because, they're going partially thanks to, our cheating buddies up at Michigan, they're going with the microphones and the helmets this year. And he says it is like one of the linebackers he'll have a couple of them that'll rotate out, but it'll be the linebackers that are, getting radioed and the stuff from the sidelines. And he was talking about, he said, he was saying the black shirts were coming this week, and then they came, I think that night, maybe. Yeah, I think they came that night. And he just talked about when he came here last year and he saw he saw them come out in the black jerseys and heard all about the tradition. Said he just went, he said to himself, that's pretty darn cool. It was something he liked being a part of. And let's see, that's more for the depth chart talk. And then Dylan came out, and if you didn't see that, he came out wearing I think I got a picture of that. He came out sporting some glasses. No, that picture wouldn't come through, but they were just like these clear stem glasses and everything. And he wanted, somebody asked like glasses, and it was Monday, and he said, "Happy first day of school, everybody." And so yeah, somebody asked him if he got any inside info from his buddy Pat Mahomes, and Pat said, "Nope, wear your regular cleats. The field's in fantastic shape, so shouldn't be any problems there." I think us older Nebraska fans are a little paranoid because not only every time it seemed like every year the reward for winning the Big Eight was go down and play Miami on their home field in the god awful Orange Bowl, where where everybody just come back with just green all over them because it was usually that field was missing half the grass and they'd spray paint it green, so they were just getting paint this green paint all over the uniforms. And it was just like a garbage field. But sounds like Arrowhead is pristine and ready to go. And bear with me, I'm just trying to find some of the good stuff. And he did mention, and I wrote an article about the captains and the oath or proclamation or whatever they called it that they all actually had to sign. And if you didn't see that article, I believe it's just called Huskers Football, something about the oath. Wait, I think I had it rolled up here earlier. Just uno momento. It's after Food World. I wrote a big article about all the new food. I got some of the photos of that. Football Huskers football team captains and the oath. If you want to read about it, some pretty cool quotes out of them. They really seem to take it to heart. Henry Lutovsky was voted a captain and said it's the highest honor he'd ever received in anything in his life. When your teammates vote you in, that's not too hard to understand. Let's see. I'll just give you like a couple of the quotes here, because Dylan was talking about how cool it was that Rule was open to this. And if you didn't know, this is Rule's 10th year of coaching, and this is his first year of letting them elect captains for the entire season. He's always done it like week by week. And Dylan said like a couple of them went in there because here's what he said. He goes, I think when you show Coach Rule that you can handle things like this, he's going to be open to it and do it. So I think it was pretty cool when he said yes to it. Me and a couple other guys went up to him and asked about it, and he approved it. And it kind of goes to show Coach Rule's not stuck in his own ways, but he's a player's coach, and he loves when his players come and talk to him, and that's a cool thing to have, and that's very rare in college football. So that was pretty good stuff there. And then, yeah, Lutovsky said we had a sworn oath we had to take for part of being a captain, stating the things we do as team captain. He was asked such as, and he said, just always look out for the team first, put the team first in everything we do, defend the process, defend the things that we stand for as a program. And then Dane Key had talked about being here, shortly after getting here, that he was even talking about it, in the spring or the summer, whatever it was. And he said, he was talking to the team, and he goes, it was along the lines of, I will protect the process and the brotherhood. And basically you're committing yourself to the football team and everything that the culture stands on. You're going to be a voice for him. And it was a serious deal. He said we stood in the team meeting room and we basically took an oath like we were getting elected to office, and it was cool. I've never experienced something like that. That was Rayola talking, actually. That was Rayola talking about. I goofed. Apologies. And here's what Key said. He goes, yeah, day one, I think those were the first couple words that came out of his mouth. Like, there's a lot of new guys in these seats, but that can't change how we feel about each other. This needs to be the tightest brotherhood. This needs to be a football team. And so good stuff. This is supposedly, is the culture they are trying to establish. You lean on each other, and the belief in each other will get you over the hump. And at the end of this, I made the point, and I thought rightfully so, let's play the devil's advocate here. We haven't necessarily heard this before, but Rule even in one quote kind of said, because he's been really, I wrote about this too, how his body language, the way he's just walking around, he thinks he's sitting on something special, I believe. And he talked, but he even said, he goes, the only thing that can stop these guys this year is their brains. And I'm like, well, that's happened some in the past, so we're going to see. We're going to get the old Mike Tyson. They're going to get punched in the mouth at some point. It may not be against Cincinnati, but we're gonna find out if this makes a difference. We 100% are. Dylan was very fired up about going into a game week with Dana, where now he's had a whole spring and fall, spring, summer, and fall to work with them, get to know how each other thinks. At one point, somebody asked Holgo how Dylan compares to other quarterbacks he's coached, quite a few, and he said makes throws that he's never seen any other quarterback he coached make throws like Dylan can. So we'll find out. If you have a chance, and I think this is when I wanted to bring this up, I believe. I'm just hoping I don't get myself all mixed up tonight for you guys. But keep an eye peeled if you want on YouTube, and not necessarily for Dylan, but just for some other college quarterbacks. There's this dude just calls himself the Film Guy. He's on YouTube, the Film Guy, and he just he'll do. I think he did about 25 minutes on Dylan. He did about 45 minutes on Georgia's new QB Gunnar Stockton. But he does a lot. All he does is break down quarterback film year round. And he did one on Dylan, and people are questioning, a lot of freshman mistakes there. Look at that 13-11 interception. And he came at it with basically Dylan needed dudes. Dylan didn't have dudes. Said he thought Dylan was one of the best QBs that as far as just decision making, that sort of thing, he thought he was one of the best in the country last year as a freshman. So he said one of the best ones he did all year. But he said did not have dudes. See, he is just showing us getting locked up in coverage by Boston College and going, looky here, these aren't dudes. Everybody, look at it. Everybody's blanketed 5 yards from the line. They're not getting free. Yeah, they are NADs, not a dudes, guys. He goes, Dylan needs dudes, and he thinks Dane Key can be one of those dudes. And that's what we got. We got, Dane Key in. We got Neziah Hunter in. And then we got a lot of guys without experience, but with talent coming out of their ears. One of them, Isaiah Mosey from KC, got moved to the running back room because he's already like 6 foot 210, and they want him on the field. And he and Mekhi Nelson were turning coaches' heads. the guy felt bad for and all that was Quentin Ives because he dinged that, what I'm assuming was the hamstring on the first day of fall practice and missed a few weeks. And then, but when he got back, these two have made a move by him, and he's going to be starting the season number 4 after it looked like he'd spent 2 years working his way to the backup. Finally got to the backup spot in the Pinstripe Bowl, and tough break. Let's hope he can make his way back and have some of that promise of his start showing through. So, but yeah, check out the film guide. Check out the Dylan one. It was kind of addictive for me. I started watching some of them, because sometimes you get to the YouTube and if it's over 3 minutes, I don't have the time. Sometimes over 45 seconds and you're on TikTok. But good stuff there. Let's see. They brought out Williams Nwaneri, and he's a co-number 1 with Cam Leonard. So we're gonna get a look at him right out of the gate. He'd never been in front of the press before. You could tell he's a really quiet guy. First time at least talking in front of Nebraska press, and so a little tough to hear sometimes. But he talked about his decision to transfer and all that, and how Mosey's dad from the Kansas City area, now coaching for the Huskers, how it was huge for him. And he made a visit, I believe, that spring where Dylan came out with like 20-something guys, and I think he was trying to squeeze 2 visits into a weekend, but he spent like a day and a half in Nebraska with that crowd. So that's kind of for me, that's one of the great things about the transfer portal, is so much for shit talking a guy because he didn't pick your school. Because now it's just, you're an idiot if you do it. Because these guys, a lot of these guys in a year or two, they're gonna think, hey, the place I chose wasn't the right place, and they're gonna remember, who treated him well. So you can't, some of these coaches, there's some stories out there how they throw them the zinger. Well, you're making the biggest mistake of your life, boy. Son, let me tell you, you gonna have a chance to win championships here, and jag-offs. So anyway, we got to talk to him a little bit. He said he felt like he put too much pressure on himself, and this is the recruiting hype, to just do it all at Missouri. And he was coming in there as a freshman with 2 returning starters, and I think their understanding was, and so you'll get some time, but you're going to do it behind these guys. And he got down on himself, and he just said he's just learned to relax and realize, I think it's just what his mantra kind of was, all we're doing is playing ball, just work hard and play ball. And so good, really excited to see what he can do. And let me see. Talked about Lutovsky, and they asked Lutovsky and Holgerson both about a name. Hopefully you don't hear too much on Thursday, but you might. Cincinnati, their defensive tackle, the Godfather, Dante Corleone. I don't know if he says Corleone or Corleone, but they said they pronounced it both ways in the Godfather, so I'm not going to feel too bad. But I think Holgerson was at Houston and playing Cincinnati. He goes, I think he retired our center. And so somebody said, how'd you do that? And he said he said he single-handedly 3 and outed us on our first drive. And just, okay. So yeah, you're going to be hearing about Corleone. Lutovsky talked about, hey, they got to find a way to stop him. Lutovsky's he's a good guy to listen to. He's a very serious, well-spoken young dude. Talks like a guy older than 23 or however old he is. He comes off as like an older soul, good guy. I can see why he's a captain, just the way he carries himself. And then let's see, we had Matt for about. This was basically the Thursday press conference. This will be my first season kind of doing the press conferences as opposed to just doing the games. And this is just a quick, like 15, I think maybe it was 15 minutes. So I don't know if I'll be going to every one of those for a short one like that. But here's some of the things he confirmed today. The kicker going into the season, the kicker is going to be Kyle Cunanan, I believe is how you say his name, the California transfer. He'll be kicking the field goals and extra points. And Rule said that Tristan Alvano and John Hull right now are battling still to see who's going to be doing the kickoffs. So they'll head down. They'll have a quick practice tomorrow morning, and then head down to Arrowhead. Get there around 4. So they'll go to the stadium, do a little walk around, and then they're going to be watching a team movie. I want to be there. The team movie is Superman, the new one. Man, Superman was a great show. It's I know we've all got a fond place for Christopher Reeve, and you got the Zack Snyder guys who love Henry Cavill, and no problems with Cavill. Hell, I even like Brandon Routh. I thought even in that one, that wasn't as bad as people made it out to be, and I thought he was pretty good. My favorite Superman movie of all time was always hands down Superman 2, just because had the best story, humor, had it all going. I thought that was Reeves' best one. The first Superman got a little long. For Superman 1 bit on the draggy side at times, and Superman 2 just banged along. This one banged along. Oh God, what's his name? David Cowanset, something like that. Might be the best Superman. He did a fantastic job. It's funny. If you're a dog lover, Krypto's going to give you all you want. Krypto, the goodest boy, based on James Gunn's dog. He said, basically, he adopted him, named Ozu, and he's just Krypto, only brown instead of white. And they used Ozu for all of Krypto's motion capture. And it's just said Ozu just ate the entire house, destroyed all the furniture, ate a laptop, but just the sweetest boy when he wasn't wrecking everything. And that's Krypto. If you get a chance to see Superman, it's a lot of fun. Rule, he said he's hoping for home game intensity. I think he's going to get it. I know that at one point the stadium was almost sold out, and over it, I think it holds around 70,000, and over at the time, I think it was like about 60,000 Husker tickets and 6,000 Cincinnati tickets have been sold. So hope it's worth the money, boys, because man, that home game is not going to be a home game. One thing he talked a lot about today was Tom Fedone made the Giants roster as a 7th-round pick, and John Bullock made the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as an undrafted free agent. And he talked about them for a while. You could sense the pride in his voice. He said, when he got here, Bullock was kind of a forgotten player, just a deep backup at safety, and he got to watch him work, and he said, almost right out of the gate his first season, he goes, I think this guy can play in the NFL. And I'm like, well, I said when I saw him as a freshman in the spring game, and then his first 2 years, I think, or maybe it was his second and third, but because he was down here for 6. I said that guy can start. He just, his speed, the way he attacked the ball is like he just came in a little undersized from Creighton Prep. I think he was probably about 190, 195. So they had to put some weight on him, and then when they did, there was just no stopping him. And now he has made an NFL roster. And then with Fedone, he was I think the 2nd or 3rd ranked tight end in Brock Bowers' class, and then it was just knee injury after knee injury, the ACLs. Apparently, it sounded like a lot of people would give him grief for underachieving when dude's coming back from 2 torn ACLs, and he said he always thought that that it was there, but just really respected all he did to fight and overcome, fight through the injuries, get back in the lineup, get drafted, make the team. And he had a couple of cool sayings, but he said these were 2 guys for whom the future didn't look too bright when I got here. But he was talking about the process, and he goes, he has 2 sayings about the process. He goes, the process works for those who work, and the process is undefeated for those who won't be defeated. And really, you're talking about a couple of guys there that wouldn't be defeated. He said even after a couple of years, Bullock talked to him and said, maybe it's just not going to happen for me, and I should focus on school. And I guess he and his dad talked it over with Rule, and Rule, I think, said the thing that he tried to leave him with was, if that's really what you want to do, you got my support, but make sure that you're doing it with no regrets. You don't walk out wondering what if. He goes, if there's still a what if in there, go find out. And he found out. Matt Markway's surgery apparently went well. He was down in Texas for it. They're bringing around 80 players down there. Because Rule asked his GM, he goes, how many are bringing 80? And she goes, 80-ish. And he goes, yeah, we don't know. Eckler's kind of a wild card. He's always going, hey, maybe bring me, give me this guy. So naturally, Eckler's making it tough to really hammer down that travel roster. And he says he likes playing a P4 team to start the season. So we'll see, because that didn't always work out so well, as opposed to just getting one of the whatever the chunk games in there early. So that's what was going on with the coaches. So let's tell you what, we got some comments, and I hope we're going to get some comments tonight. Let's see what we got. Paul Dalen is in here with a little hello to Corn Nation. How you doing, Paul? Tiger Shark Diver, I believe, got in there first. I am ready. Go Big Red. And here's a Jay Chapman. Howdy, Jay. Welcome. Here's one Southerner who's pulling for Nebraska to have a great season. Well, as always, and I don't know what part of the South this might piss you off. It's probably the odds are it'll piss you off. But we were a Georgia family growing up. My dad and uncle both went to Georgia. I moved out to Nebraska, and I was probably still a Bulldog at heart until about my junior year at Nebraska. And then it's like, it's Nebraska #1 now, but Georgia's our secondary. And now we've got a relative in the family through my uncle's marriage to his grandmother. Gunnar Stockton is a Ketterson step cousin of sorts. So we wish Gunnar and the dogs good luck. But don't worry, won't talk about them. I think the first couple times I came on John's show, I wasn't really paying attention to what I had on, and I was I walked in sporting a Georgia hat and just got like, what the hell? Let's see what people are saying right now. Jay says Huskers ought to whoop up on Cincinnati. Let's hope so. We'll talk about Cincinnati. We almost had similar seasons brewing, and then we won 2 of our last 3. Should have won all fucking 3. Iowa, but then Cincinnati just went on a slide and stayed there. I agree with Tiger Shark Diver. I think Jacory is going to have a huge year. Dana Holgerson spoke at pressers more than once on what's Jacory doing this year to get better. And he goes, he's playing much faster. And that might have something to do with the knotted dudes, because he wasn't always open, so maybe he wasn't just comfortable in his route running yet, because he's a super fast guy. I expected to see him loose a lot more than I did. I think he's going to be getting loose this year. And when you've got guys like Hunter and Key, and then, even I would fully expect to see, was it another? Oh, let me look it up here. Cortez Mills is another. Cortez Mills, and possibly Jeremiah Jones, who's kind of might be our freak dark horse. He's a true freshman. Jeremiah Jones, 6'4", 225. He might be the guy that kind of blows in there and make people go whoa. But yeah, I think Jacory's going to have a big year. Fred, you didn't miss much. I didn't really dive into the numbers yet. I was just talking over a little with some of the stuff they've been saying in the pressers today and yesterday. I haven't even started on Dylan, but yeah, all of a sudden it'll be blue. Hi, what are you guys talking about? Inwari does look huge, but you know who else looks huge is his co-1, Cam Leonard. Just looks like a brick shithouse, man. What do they have him listed as? Yeah, Cam's at 6'3", 270, and it looks like a spry 6'3", 270, but yeah, Inwari 6'7", 265. He looks every bit the 5-star that we got to know during his recruiting process before last season. Yeah, haven't seen totally 4-star. Recommend it. So much fun. Oh my God, look who's here! It's Miley. Hey, Miley, just ought to jump into the studio. Let me see here. I should send you a link. Yeah, hey, go on there if you want to drop in for a few minutes, because I was going to this year start asking you to talk a little volleyball anyway, Miley. Oh, the kid's there. Where's my other kid? You're a brat. Yeah, TSD also. Yeah, Jeremiah Jones is huge and big guy. Yeah, yeah. I like this millennial 89. Welcome aboard. And I don't expect. He says I don't expect to finish product Thursday, but a gritty win. I actually ran. There's a poll out there right now, and on the website. Just go in, vote, and then they'll give us the results. And hopefully, I'll have them by no later than Thursday morning, game day. But the 4 options were I went at it from the spread, which I guess that's up to 7. I moved it half a point in our favor, and then the over-under was like 53.5. So I was going high-scoring win, 35-21, Nebraska covers, game goes over, or Nebraska 28-27, Cincinnati covers, game goes over, and then I went, hey, Nebraska, it's still kind of shaky offense at times, but the defense does it, 23-10. Well, real quick, I just got a text from Miley, and quote, was it my ass in bed, so I'm not joining. All right, well, thanks for saying hi. Listen in and type away. But anyway, then I had us like, hey, a 23-10 win, and then the old, hey, and just, basically just to get everybody going, I'd say, hey, why not another field goal as time expires, Cincinnati 13, Nebraska 10. And Cincinnati covers and the game goes under, but no, we're not. I don't think we're going to see that anyway. But TSD, knowing that is of course the case, Miley, you must be related, and yes, she must be. But yeah, I'm stuck with it. But we do what we have to do. Let's talk about some of the returning Huskers, and going down the actual returning Huskers and their numbers. You knew that we were going to be in business in the portal, and I was going to save her except quarterback, except we brought in Davila from from who transferred in from Purdue, a 4-star. He apparently is going to be the 4th stringer, but this is going to be a higher level of 4th stringer than we've probably had in I don't know how long. But he was a 4-star recruit. He can spin a ball, and you got Gramstad in the number 3 spot. As I predicted watching practice the last time they let us go out and take a little film, I said, all I know is they're going 1, 2, 3, 4 in all the drills, and he's going second now. And the last one we were at, Gramstad was going second, and then like a day or two later, they were like, yeah, the coaches are talking him up. And I'm like, yep. And then then the depth chart came out, and he was number 2 on it. So, yeah. Anyway, got Dom coming back. He completed 67% of his passes, 275 for 410 for just over 2,800 yards. And yeah, the 13-11 TD to interception ratio wasn't great. I'm here to tell you that I think it was more of a case of the not having guys who could really get open in the end zone than Dylan can't hit him. Because if you watch, a lot of the TDs he did throw were just these drop them in the back of the end zone, drop them right in a tight spot. So I've got hope for Dylan. Is Minnie there yet? No? Okay. No, I think he is the real deal, and if these receivers are half as good as advertised, I think we're gonna see it this year. Now, then we had at running back, we stood pat in the portal, even though it looked like, hey, we literally have Emmett who carried 117 times for 598 yards. In the last 3 games, he carried 59 times for 314 yards, and then he also had 170 yards receiving. So he was averaging about 120 total yards per game. Very much a part of the passing game. And the limited practice we got to watch, he is catching deep balls. He's catching balls all over the place. You're gonna see him as much of a receiver as the receivers, I think. But yeah, all we had coming back was him, and then Quentin Ives had 6 carries for 7 yards on the season, along with that Pinstripe Bowl touchdown. And no one else had more than 1 carry. No other returning running back. So they're thinking maybe go get someone. They truly believe that they had between Ives and Mekhi Nelson, and then you got they are even in love, and I could see it because I saw Booth break one on Fan Day, but you had Kenneth Williams from Lincoln, Connor Booth from Wahoo, who ran for about 3,000 yards in Class B as a senior. I think he ran for 5,000 yards and like 80, 90 touchdowns his last 2 seasons. You never know what you're getting till they get there. E.J. Barthel spoke of him repeatedly. Real deal guy. He's coming in as a true freshman at about, I think, 6 foot 215, and can move. So I don't know how much you'll see him this year. You'll see him. You will see him. But no, they said we think we've got a loaded running back room as is. So all these guys, and he says it. We're a very young roster because Rule says it about a lot of kids. They got everything they need to succeed. They've got their attitude down, their discipline. They've got the talent. They've got the work ethic. They just need to play some football games now and then just watch the world open up for them. Now at receiver, this is another thin one. Our leading returning receiver was Barney, who had 55 catches, led the team in catches for 447 yards, didn't catch a touchdown pass, but he carried the ball 10 times for 130 yards and scored 3 touchdowns running it. So he did find the end zone. And after that, our leading receivers were Carter Nelson with 10 catches for 86 yards, Janiron Bonner with 11 catches for 67 yards, and Luke Lindenmeyer, who's in charge of the room with 5 catches for 50 yards. And then losing Mark Way kind of stinks, but then you'll have Harburg in there. I believe he's listed as the backup now with Nelson as the third stringer. So they very much believe in their tight end talent. And then on defense, it's basically 5 defense. The tackling experience is basically 5 defensive backs. Deshaun Singleton had 71 total tackles. Hartzog with 45 and 4 picks. Javen Wright with 39 and a sack and 2 picks. Marcus Buford with 35 tackles and a pick. Let's see, did I write? That's Sayer Wright. I'm sorry, that was Sayer Wright with the 2 picks and the sack and the 39 tackles. Javen Wright had 34 tackles, and then true freshman Vince Shavers Jr. Had 25. I see Vince Shavers Sr. Liking some stuff on Corn Nation. Vince, if you ever tune in to watch this, Vince Sr., welcome. We love having you around, buddy. So anyway, that's our returning. It's like our biggest returning groups were quarterback and defensive back, and then kind of thin in all the other spots, but it looks like we short them all up. So let's see here. Tell you what, I wanted to just pop our schedule up there real quick. Let's see, let's get that up, and let's just talk about that schedule a little bit. Sorry for the small writing, but yeah, you're using your whole screen unlike me. So let's go down there. Cincinnati. We did a poll one week. What's the most important game of the year? Cincinnati edged it out for the win, and the attitude being, it's the next game, so it's the most important game, and that's certainly an attitude Dr. Tom carried with him. Is like, I don't worry about Miami, and I don't worry about the Hurricanes in the middle of November, and that sort of thing. So after that, we've got Akron and Houston Christian. Not to invite tragedy by by making assumptions, but folks, those ought to be wins. And then comes our first big matchup, Michigan. They're going to have they're going to be one with the 5-star true freshman quarterback going into Big Ten play and without their head coach. That's one of the games that Sharon Moore and Michigan's ridiculous penalty, I think, has to sit out. I think that they tack on another game, but he said that Nebraska was going to be one of those games. I can't think of a better, fuck you for the lack of respect than let's go in and beat Michigan. I think they're a little overrated. Their offense was hot garbage last year. I mean, it made ours look amazing at times. I think it was so bad, and that now they're talking about number 14. People are talking about them for the playoff. Of course, some weirdos are talking about us for the playoffs. And dudes, for all that stupid talk, in the voting itself, the writers have us at 34th, and the coaches have us at 39th. So I think the majority aren't really buying into that. It's more show me, but I'm not picking in the top, 25, let alone the top 12. But that would be a big win. We get them at home on CBS, which, man, that when we get them on CBS, you know what that means? We get the cool CBS music, coolest college football intro music there is. Then Michigan State. So let's see, 4. I mean, everybody kind of skates ahead a little bit. What I'm kind of looking at is we can be 5-1 or 6-0 going to Minnesota. And how many times do we just walk into Minnesota? What do they beat us? 6 out of 7, 7 out of 8. I said that has to just drive some of these teams nuts. Like say Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa, who I think together are playing at about an 800-900, winning percentage against us in the last 8-9 years. But every year we roll in, yeah, we're going to beat these guys. Northwestern, I'm not looking for too much of a challenge there. Southern Cal, UCLA, those will be interesting back-to-back games. And then Penn, yeah, that's a finish right there, folks. Southern Cal, UCLA, Penn State, Iowa. And again, Penn, I think they're looking at USC as the tougher team. I thought UCLA was the better team last year, and I said last year going into that game, look at these scores. They had played like the number 3 toughest schedule in the country, and were playing close. Not getting blown out, but because they played so many good teams and came out on the wrong end of these games, they came in with not a great record. And no, they are good enough to play with these top 10, 20 teams. So it was a pretty good year, I thought, for Deshaun Foster. Penn State's here's why I look at Penn State. Penn State, I don't think they'll be number 2 when that game rolls around. I think they're being overrated a little bit. They're probably at 5 or 6. It doesn't make you awful. I mean, there's 12 teams in the playoff, and last year's winners were at the 6 and 7 seed. Although, granted, that's kind of skewed by the by the fact that they give like some of these cruddy division winners a top 4 seed. It's like, let the division winners in. Don't give them a top 4 seed when they're clearly not as good. Thank you. I'll get off your soapbox now. But you beat Penn State, and that's what opens the eyes nationally that we're not just back, but back in a big way. And if we can go into that game with just a loss or 2 and pull that upset, that's the one that will move the national needle for us. And then, for the love of God, can we just take care of Iowa? That's all I'll say about that. That's all I've got to say about that. All right, so there's our schedule. Tell me in the comments what you guys are thinking for a record. What are you thinking? 8-4, 9-3. Some people are going 10-2. I think it's a little to go anywhere over 9 wins. Let's get to 8 first, and then just let everything be gravy. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you're thinking for a record this year. Feel free to add in the comments why you're thinking it if you want, or just give me the record. I do it whatever makes you guys the happiest. Hey, one thing I got to do this year. If you saw the article, great. I did post something about it on Saturday. But last Wednesday, got to do the Aramark taste testing of their new food offerings in Memorial Stadium. They've got Memorial Stadium, and I think they got Memorial Devaney and the soccer stadium, Hibner. I don't think they have Pinnacle. I don't know if they already had somebody signed to a deal there, but just so you know, Aramark does both Chiefs and Royals stadiums. So, and I've got a friend, Greg, who giant Royals fan, and he always spoke well of just how amazing some of the food is down there at Arrowhead. So I got you some pictures. I'll jump in with this. And TSD says, I know Andy got a 1-pound hot dog. Andy would have eaten it. It's a half pounder. Let me get that one up first. Let's see. Where's a good picture of that bad boy? Here you go. Right in the middle. It's the one that's got like chopped green onions and what looks like potato salad. And I made the same face some of you guys might be making right now. I was like, I don't know, man. But then what they had was just like probably had that thing chopped up into 4 pieces. And it was the best thing I ate there that day. It is hot aioli sauce with hot aioli roasted corn sauce, roasted corn in the sauce, and just tastes fantastic. And the guy was even talking about, how their chefs came up with a few things, and he's going, because another thing was over on the right there. I don't know if it might be all the way to the right, but it's a Reuben cheese steak, only it's a Reuben, and they use along with everything goes on like a Reuben, they use Dorothy lunch dressing, and he said, sounds like it shouldn't work, it works. So interesting, but yeah, that damn hot dog, and there's its box behind it. It's like not only does the damn thing come in a box, they put a handle on it. There is some heft to it. Yeah. So anyway, and now their big thing was they want people should be eating corn at a Cornhuskers game. I really didn't care about that. I don't really need corn to be uh, part of my game day offerings. But then they rolled out this, and this is one where they have kind of a lime aioli sauce on roasted like corn on the cob. And I didn't have that one. What I had was, let's see, where's this bad boy? Is that it? No, that's not it. What that is on the or Herbie Husker burgers with red buns, and then on the left are loaded mac and cheese with brisket and some barbecue sauce. I'm a more of a I don't like the super sweet barbecue sauces. I'm more of the tangy, but a little spicy is what I prefer. I don't if it's too sugary. I don't like candy on my brisket and pork. Is this it? Let's see. Nope, that one I just showed you. There you go. Over on the left there, that's the red hot corn on the cob, and that is again the fiery hot aioli sauce, and the reddish on there is, you got it, crumbled up flaming hot Cheetos. So, and that was fantastic. Over on the right are just some of the not. They're going to have a lot of different street nacho offerings, that sort of thing. Street tacos. Let's see, did I have? That was a lot of the new stuff there. And this one, there's Philly. There's your burgers, and they're going to have all the. Get that off. They're going to have all the old stuff too. You're not losing your just regular Frank's Red Hots, your Runzas, your Valentinos for you sick people like that. But all the old stuff's popcorn, all that is still there. And then we get beer and fizzy drinks. And so you're going to have Modelo, but you're going to have your Bud Light. He said there was no way in hell Nebraskans weren't going to not get Busch Light. So Busch Light's there. Apparently the numbers say Nebraska loves Busch Light. And then over there you've got whatever those little vodka seltzers, High Noon, the little vodka seltzers, a couple flavors of those, and I think there's a couple more in the back there. And then you've got your two Zip Lines Nebraska Brew and Cross Strains Crusher, and with Herbie Husker on the can. So I don't know if those are even out that yet or if anybody's tasted them, but there's your booze, there's your soda below it, and if anybody ever invites you to a tasting, go. They put us up. Let me see if it was all done up on the club level there, up where they're not going to let me in a room with any of the people that sit in these rooms, but they actually did roll out one of their food tables for what the better half eats up there, and it's the crab claws, the shrimp cocktail, like big shrimp cocktail, salmon. They brought out some prime rib. It just good times. And then some mashed potatoes to kind of eat that little sampling plate down with. I sampled plenty. I went back. I tried to not just start going back for those hot dogs again and again. And I finally went back, and it must have been a unanimous opinion on those things because they were gone, and everything else had something left, but all the hot dogs were mowed down. So anyway, fun stuff. People were asking me how much is this, and I just went, I'm fairly certain it's outrageous, but you already knew that. I bet you that hot dog's going to be like $12 or something. God only knows how much those cans of beer. You're going to be drinking like $10 Busch Lights and shit like that. I haven't bought an alcoholic drink at a stadium in so many years, and I thought, because I don't really drink beer anymore, to hallowed be Sailor Jerry. So I don't know what they're charging for beer now, but beers are going to be like, I felt like $7-8 15 years ago. So God only knows now. So anyway, moving along, let's talk about the depth chart a little bit. I'm going to take a sip of Huskers Happy Hour. Really like Coke Zero with my Sailor. All right. So let's pop up the depth chart here. Let's see. Let's check comments real quick. Okay, here we go. Perfect. We'll start. We'll go ahead and start with this, and then I'll check the rest. No, tell you, I'll come back to it. Tiger has a question. Brent Carlson, howdy Brent, welcome aboard. says, better get it done this year. I don't want to hear 2027, 2028, etc. This is it. This is the year. Time to get it done. No ifs, ands, or buts. Tired of fucking excuses. I couldn't agree more. I don't think this is a team built to win in 2 years. This is a team that's ready to win now and keep winning if all goes as planned. And I'll say it again. Matt Rule is walking around just carefree. Is not walking around like a man who has the hopes and dreams of, a team of 125, a staff of another 100 or whatever it is, God knows how many fans, and he just he is just enjoying every day at work. You can usually tell when a coach has the pressure on him. He may not be losing control or anything, but you can just tell this is a guy that's a little wound a little tight. He is free as a bird. I take that as a good sign. TSD said he says 10-2. Vince Watson, welcome Vince. I love that logo. That's just psychotic. Says 7-5. Hey, it's in play. When I saw that schedule, I said it is not out of the realm of possibility that they could win 11 games. I said there's also they could lose 8. If I'm going to each extreme, there's 8 I think there's 8 losable games that are both losable and winnable, obviously. But yeah, when I say they could win 11, they could go 4-8, and it wouldn't stun me. And I would tell me that we still haven't figured out this one score loss thing, as I think what 4-8 would tell us. Here we go, talking a 10-2 from TSD. Lewis's to USC and Penn State. See, and I thought USC was beatable. I mean, let's face it, that's one of those games the Big Ten had to wrap the bow on for him by just letting him drag Jamal Banks to the ground, and somehow that's not defensive holding or interference. So I think USC's beatable. They're acting like Myvie is suddenly untouchable. It's like, well, he was all right against us. I don't know that he was a Heisman performance, but yeah, Millennial says, hey, one game at a time for me. Sorry, I just can't. Hey, you're not alone. You are not alone. Yeah, TSD said, there he goes. I want to talk about the hot dog again. It's a half pounder, and it's kind of like cream corn. It just doesn't taste at all like cream corn. That sauce on there that the corn is in is not your cream corn bullshit. It is tasty as hell. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like, granted, and in the article I said, look, I'm 100% admitting you give me free food, your chances of me speaking negatively about you go way down. I admit the horror side of me. It's nothing but a damn food whore, and I'm not afraid to admit it. That being said, this was good stuff. Like I said, the only stuff I didn't really like was the loaded mac and cheese, just because the barbecue sauce is too sweet. I like the texture, everything else. Like the corn on the cobs, the burger. I did eat like one of the burgers or the burger burger samples they gave me. Good burger. It tasted like the real, ground beef. It tastes like fresh ground beef and not the frozen patty stuff. Said looks good. Yeah, Sailor and Coke for the Sailor and Diet Coke, or actually Coke Zero for the win. Some friends of mine opened a bar. Actually, they bought a bar. Courtney and Eric bought Dundee's place over just east of 72nd and Maple, and they do have the Coke Zero on the tap. So yeah, I'm Tiger Tom's. It's home bar, but we can certainly stop in on occasion and see our good friends there, Eric and Courtney. But anyway, yeah, that's the first time I'd ever saw. She said, "Hey, we got Coke Zero on the gun," and I'm like, well, "Let me try it," because that's what I use if I'm brewing my own concoction, shall we say. So, yes, Sailor and Jerry and Coke Zero. Andy is a Renaissance man. You already knew that, Fred. And there we go. 73% of our team are underclassmen. We are a young team, but we've got some young guys out there with the experience, and we'll be talking about them here in a sec. And Fred, 9-3 is very doable. Need to at least, I'd like to see us get to 9-3. 8-4, 7-5. I think I'd be a little disappointed this year. I think we're just a little more locked and loaded. Matt Rule certainly thinks he's got his best team since he's been here. Let's put it this way. He talks about not having fun. Fred's bad mouthing my hot dog. And cream. It's not cream corn. It's not cream corn. Damn it. It's very good. And here we have Emilio Monasterio. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Said hi. Hi, Emilio. Thanks for joining us. I thought I saw somebody else said hi, and if I skipped them, where is it? There we go. Dot Weeks. I thought I saw Dot Weeks coming in on the Facebook side, giving us a go big red. Go big red right back at you, Dot. Thanks for hopping in here, listening to us talk about cream corn hot dogs. Yeah, I don't know if 8 wins is a disappointment. Actual cream corn on a hot dog would be a disappointment. This isn't that. I don't think you could pay me to eat actual cream corn. No. What did they? I have the picture somewhere else. What they actually call it, but no, good stuff. Let's get that. Whoops, where'd he go? Okay, Emilio down. There we go. Get the depth chart up. And there's our depth chart. I got a bigger copy here. Let's just go down there. So you've got Gunner at left tackle was the battle, and it's been the battle. It was supposedly just between Gunner and Elijah Pritchett, the Alabama transfer, but now they've put Turner there. Turner Corcoran listed over there. It doesn't really matter. Donnie Raiola told us either those tackles, all those tackles can play either side of the line. It doesn't matter. But what did come out in the press, they were, and I don't know if this was trying to find new motivation for Elijah Pritchett, but they were mentioning he's just making too many mistakes right now. That he's got the stuff. He's a 6'6", 325 guy, but he's jumping, he's missing assignments, and he's still in the OR conversation. Whereas before they were just saying it's a battle, and here you got a guy, a junior from Alabama, coming in. But hey, people forget Gunnar Gotula. He started about 6 games last year after Corcoran and Teddy went down, and he played pretty well. So anybody that thought he was just going to hand it over to the transfer probably didn't realize the work this at the time redshirt freshman did to get on the field. Lutovsky, the clear number 1 at left guard, team captain, would have been a single digit guy. Offensive lineman can't wear him. Justin Evans is the center with a guy who's been biding his time and putting on the weight and doing the work. Sam Sledge backing him up, on Omaha's own, and then Rocco Spindler, the Notre Dame transfer, started 24 games at Notre Dame. Is the right guard, and then Teddy Prohaska and Tyler Knack are duking it out for right tackle. And then tight end, Luke Lindenmeyer, he's the number 1. He even says he's kind of like the captain in the room. And you'd think like Harburg would make one, but here's a guy who's learning how to play a position. So just learn how. He must be doing it pretty well. He is co-number 2 with Carter Nelson. So good on them. And just with Heinrich Harburg and Carter Nelson, you might be talking about the Nebraska being the team with the 2 crazy, ridiculous, most freakish athletes in the room. Because both those guys, I think, high jumped like 6'7" in high school. Ran track at state. It's kind of crazy. And if they can learn the position and start using some of that ability to get the ball and run away from people, look out, jump over them. We talked about the wide receivers. The backups behind Nizaiah Hunter are redshirt freshman Quinn Clark, who Holgerson noticed immediately when he came in last year and got him on the travel squad as a true freshman. And then behind him, Keelan Smith. And then here behind Dane Key, or Cortez Mills Jr., a 4-star recruit, Jeremiah Jones. We talked about, his crazy size for a wideout. And then Janiron Bonner backing up Ja'Cory Barney. And I will tell you, Janiron Bonner, when I got to see him in practice, was just catching everything and anything they threw at him. He was showing off some really nice hands. Obviously, your quarterback and your offensive leaders, Dylan Raiola. Of the 6 captains, and those are Lutovsky, Raiola, and Dane Key on offense. And on defense, I think those 3 of the backfield guys. Was it Sayre Wright, Deshaun Singleton, and I believe Marcus Buford Jr. Were those the 3? I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, let's see. You got this is where it's interesting. At defensive end, you've got. I'll go ahead and plop that down right now for the moment. Hold on. You've got Williams and Nwaneri and Cam Linhart listed as Orr's co-number ones. Look at the number 3 guy behind him, Cade Peterzak, the South Dakota true freshman, 6'5", 265, so not too undersized for a DN. He's about the same size, and he's turning heads, and defensive line coach Terry Braden has said, you are going to see him on the field this year. They'd probably like to redshirt him. He may be too good to redshirt, but apparently he came in and turned heads right out of the gate. You don't see a lot of true freshmen jumping in on the defensive line and going toe-to-toe with the Big Ten. At nose guard, Elijah Judy is listed as number 1, and Riley Van Poppel is number 2. I think you can count on seeing as much Riley Van Poppel. I was kind of surprised that wasn't an Orr. Maybe it's just Judy's the senior, but Van Poppel got as a sophomore who had a single-digit jersey, so he's got the respect of the team. Keona Davis is on the other side. And this is a guy, he's put some more weight. He was a little undersized in getting out there last year, like 250 at defensive tackle, and he's put on about 25 pounds. And I think, he's another one who's just waiting to break out the more experience he gets. Desan McCullough is the starter at Jack, and behind him are Jordan Ochoa, who moved ahead of Willis McGahee the 4th. But I don't know if that was anything McGahee did badly, just it sounds like Ochoa, the redshirt freshman, came on. So there you go. On the other side, you got Javen Wright, the 7th-year senior, and he's got Jacob Bauer, and then the freshman, the highly touted freshman from Alabama, Dawson Merritt, pops on the chart. And then, well, here he goes. Somebody goes, what? This was, I believe, Tiger that was saying, let's see, where were we? Yeah, what's going on? I remembered. What's going on with Shaver's number 2? Nothing. Marcus Watson-Trent, a transfer from Georgia Southern, I think, where he led him in tackles the last 2 years. He was playing for them when they beat us. So he's had experience in Memorial Stadium. But I think it's more of just because he's a tackling machine, and that's another one. It's like they're both so good. That's why there's an Orr there. Shavers is good, true sophomore, but here's Watson-Trent, who's got experience and accolades and wanted to take a swing at a P4 team. So yeah, I don't think Shavers did anything wrong. I think if he's co-number 1 with Watts, then he's in a very, very good place. So yeah, I don't think there's anything to worry about there. It's one of those good problem to have sort of deals. And then so we go to our 5. They list now 2 cornerbacks, a rover, a nickel, and a safety. And from what I understand, most of them can play all the positions, or most of the positions anyway. Deshaun Singleton's the rover. Right behind him, keep an eye out for Rex Guthrie, redshirt freshman, I believe from Colorado. Rugged, fast kid. And Matt Rule called him out specifically as one. Has everything it takes to be a great player and to be a black shirt. Just got to get him playing. So you're going to see him on the field. Andrew Mart, you have one cornerback, Sayar Wright, ahead of Jeremiah Charles and Amari Sanders. And people are impressed by Charles, but this is Sayar Wright's position. He grabbed it by the horns last year. How's that interception for 6 against Southern Cal? Going back to play his own team at their yard and picking off 2 and running 1 back for 6. And then the other cornerback lists Andrew Marshall as the starter and Donovan Jones as the backup. But both Matt Rule and John Butler were very, very quick to point out that Donovan Jones, you saw him, get into the Pinstripe Bowl after the wave of defections, and he got in there, tore it up, was out there tackling people. He's a big one. He's 6'1", 200. He's a corner. They said safety's his natural position, and you'll see him at safety maybe. But Rule and Butler were very clear they consider him a starter. He may be listed 2 there, but he can play either corner and safety. They said he's going to be. You're going to see him on the field as much as the starters, and he's and he's still a redshirt freshman because he didn't get into 4 games last year. I spoke to his coach, Larry Martin, late last week, and Larry just I mentioned Donnie Jones, and Larry Martin just starts smiling, and he just said he's a beast, and he is. He tore it up in the Pinstripe Bowl. I was kind of surprised not to see him number 1, but like I said, they quickly told me, oh, he's number 1. Make no mistake. And then we have Marcus Buford Jr. at safety, returning starter. These are all returning starters except for Marshall, who's the transfer, who steps into, I guess, what it was, Tommy Hill's spot. And then who was, already forgot last year's cornerback. I'm not even going to try. But like Andrew Marshall stepped in. He's also going to be returning kickoffs. Ja'Cory Barney sounds like he's going to be returning the punts. And then Malcolm Hartzog Jr. is coming in, and he is going to, looks like, leave Nebraska as a 4-year starter. 5'9", the 5'9" might be generous, man. I think it's more like 5'7". He looks tiny out there, but he would be an All-American if he was 6 foot. I don't think I'm overstating that. He is so quick, plays so hard, and it's just sometimes you get him on a 6'3" receiver, and it's just get it up there. It's not really fair, but just plays his ass off. So that's what we're looking at. Like I said, announced today, Kyle Cunanan. He was listed as an or with John Hall. He's now going to be the place kicker to start. Camden Cook, Sam Cook's son, who's kind of the odd man out at punter with Archie Wilson in here, is going to hold the extra points and the field goals, and if he can't do it, it'll be Gramstad. The holding position was shaky last year. There were field goal issues that weren't really the fault of the field goal kickers at times. So hopefully they've shored that up. Archie Wilson hands down the punter. I think I even just put in because after Archie broke down a little talking about his family, I mean, we were already, I think, adopt Archie before that. He just seems like the best dude. Memorized everybody's name on the team. I still find that insanity. Kevin Gallick is your long snapper, senior, very good at his job. And your punt returner is Barney Marshall, is Barney's backup. And sharing the kick returns, they've got an or designation, will be Isaiah Mosee, Kenneth Williams, and Mekhi Nelson. And here's one thing, though, that Eckler said. He goes, we led the SEC in punt return average. It was like 13.7 yards, which I think they said was only like 1.5 yards shorter than Nebraska's longest punt return last season. And he said they did it with like 4 different guys. And so you can expect to see Barney and Marshall at the very least. So that's your depth chart. Feel free to pop in any thoughts you have on that, such as that was a great question about Shavers at number 2. And when I give my answer, if a coach said it, I'll tell you a coach said it. And if I'm just taking my wild ass guess, it is what it is. That'll be me speaking, and then we can come back and laugh when I'm proven totally wrong. So let's see. Chart. Let's talk a little about Cincinnati. This team we're going to be facing. Okay, so in 2024, well, I'll tell you what, get any comments in there? I don't think we got it. Well, let's see. We went through blah, blah. Cream corn on a hot dog as if you're pregnant. Well, I'll never find out. Okay, here we go. Tiger wants to know, how many touchdowns will Heinrich have? Here's the number I'm going to go with. And I'm going to go with it because I think they're going to do some shit with him like they did with Ja'Cory last year. So I'll use Ja'Cory's number. I'll say 3 touchdowns. And they won't necessarily all come through the air. I think Heinrich's a guy that they're just going to look to get it into his hands. Here we go. From the other Dave. I like this. 10-2, 10-2, Archie, oi, oi, oi. Yeah, there you go. Little soccer, or in his case, Australian rules. I'll tell you what, if you get a chance, go on YouTube. There's about a 9-minute video. If you just go like Australian rules football highlight or whatever, it is like a 9.5-minute ad for Australian rules football. And when you watch it, you will understand why I watched Australian rules football like in college in the 80s, because that's when it was just when SportsCenter was SportsCenter and shit like Aussie rules football, indoor lacrosse, darts, poker, and all that. No actual football, baseball, basketball, hockey. And man, you watch this and you see these guys get wired, those crowds go berserk, and the boys in front of their little goals doing for the scores, and it'll get you going. I was a big fan of that. I watch that video occasionally, just if I just need to get pumped up a little. Elijah Pritchett had the stuff, then he gave it to his date. I didn't even have to look at the name. I knew that was a Fred Sacco special. Let's see. Todd Prather stepped in there and says, nice. Let's go, Huskers. Go Big Red. You're damned right. Fred Sacco says, we've got more orders than PJ Fleck. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, Shavers, he didn't mention it. I have a feeling that he'll be a go. Was it Saturday, Friday? What did we talk to Matt? Saturday or Friday? Maybe it was last Friday. And he said Shavers was day to day with just a lingering hammy, kind of like Ives was. And he said, but don't bet against him. He said, don't bet against him not being out there. So I get the feeling he thinks he'll play. Who knows? Could be a game day decision. And speaking of game day decisions, 2 weeks ago, Donnie Rayola had asked him when are you going to know who your starters at left and right tackle are. He said game day, even back then. Let's see. Oh, look at Fred. No, I hope he has two hammies. Vince, pay no attention to Fred. We know what you meant. Yeah, even Fred knows he's just being a pain in the ass. Northwestern seniors. You know what, though? Keep the pressure on Northwestern. I felt like they got just a free pass on that whole thing. And now, I don't know. Here's the thing is Fitzgerald says, hey, we reached a settlement. And here's why you reached a settlement. And he's saying, I've been exonerated. They proved I knew nothing about it. And it's like, no, what they did was found you covered your ass enough. You didn't get caught on tape talking about it or caught on any of the film. You made sure you were way away. I don't believe you. There's no way in hell you had no clue what was going on. And if you truly didn't, I don't know why any parent would let a kid play for you ever again. If you're so out of touch with your team that they're doing this shit for 15 years, doing it before you got there, doing it while you're there, and that whole time, I didn't have a clue. None of this is my fault. Well, you should be fired anyway. If that's how clueless you were. So I get it. You got money by saying I'm an idiot instead of going, yeah, I knew about it, but I won't admit it. I wouldn't get. I was going to say I'd get paid too, but I wouldn't put myself in that situation. That's just awful. So no, all they proved was that they couldn't prove it, that you knew about it. They didn't prove you didn't know about it. They just proved they couldn't prove it. So take your money, go away, and no, freak. Who have we got here? Fox Jorkerzul. I apologize if I'm wrong. I take the best guess. Let's go indeed. Welcome aboard, my man. Thank you for being here. Yeah, here we go, Fred. Yeah, here it is. Aussie rules football is wild. Used to watch it as a kid, and Satellite had all kinds of cool sports. They used to have it regularly on ESPN. Sometime I want to say when we're getting to 86, 87, 88, and there. Just loved it. Anyway, let's see. Here we have Asian Posh Noreen says, Minnie's going to Kansas. All righty then. Got a good luck. Go Big Red. Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping in, Asian Posh Doreen. Like the name. And then let's see. Yep. Yeah, like I said, if I mess it up, hey, I have the name Ketterson, which basically made for the easiest nicknames by just Ketter and then throw on anything 1 or 2 syllables that's foul and profane. And I've got my best friend, I think, still calls me Ketterfuck to this day. So, yeah, there's worse. And Fred confirms Minnie's going to KC. The state patrol has been notified, and a perimeter will be established around Dillon. Yeah, there is that thing about a restraining order. And there's Asian. She's saying howdy to Fred. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. He wants to know the score. I tell you what, the one I'm leaning toward is, and I'm gonna change. I've got 48 hours. I'm kind of thinking somewhere along the lines of maybe 31-27. I think it could be close, but we're going to find a way to win. And I think the offense is going to look good, and the defense is going to maybe be looking to find its stride a little as they break in the new D-line. Now, the D-line doesn't lack for confidence at all. I love the attitude going in. They're like, hey, Ty and Nash, that's great. Well, anyway, our goals are to break all the single season and single game records we can for tackles, sacks, picks, you name it. They're like, they want to go after records. Let's see. So, Ketter ass, yeah, heard that. Pretty much. Ketter stinky. One guy had a good one. He called me cheddar balls. I think that was at like Boy Scout camp when I was in like 6th grade. I unfortunately, I think it took some of the sting out of what he was hoping would really depress me, because I laughed so hard. He was kind of laughing with, but I was like, no, that was supposed to hurt you. I was trying to be mean. Let's see. Fred's going with 38-13 Nebraska. Sounds about right. But let's do Cincinnati real quick here. So Cincinnati got no votes in either poll. They finished 5-7 last season, no bowl game. Our seasons were kind of similar to start. They started off 5-2, and then lost 5 straight. And what did we start off? 5-0. Were we 5-0? And then lost 5 in a row, and then won 2. I think won 2 out of 3 to finish 7-6. And instead, they were playing for bowl eligibility for 5 weeks and lost 5 straight. And unfortunately we got to 5 wins right out of the gate, and so we got to play. We got 7 tries at the 6th win. Geez. Okay. So their quarterback does return. Brendan Sorsby looks like a pretty good, solid quarterback, and can run. He completed 64% of his passes, 249 of 389, 2,813 yards. Yeah, right, about the same yardage as Dylan. They're pretty close to each other on yards per attempt. But his TD to INT was 18-7. But he lost, and then he carried it 105 times for 447 yards. So he was the team's second leading rusher. They lost their leading rusher. He gained 1,200. Their top returning rusher is Evan Pryor. This may not be a break for us. He carried 56 times for 418 yards, averaged 7.5 yards per carry, and scored 6 TDs. So that 7.5 yards a carry, man, that doesn't make it sound like the easiest. Now, they lost most of their top receivers. The top returning one is a guy named Joe Royer, who caught 50 for 522. He's a tight end, got 3 TDs. But the guy they're saying to watch is a transfer from Lindenwood University named Jeff Caldwell. He is 6'5", 200 pounds, and supposedly looks the part and is ready to play the part. And so we just got to hope we got a hold of some good, got to get some good, Lindenwood tape or whatever. But the man when it comes to Cincinnati is that 6'1", 335-pound defensive tackle, all Big 12 first team last year, honorable mention All-American, the Godfather Dante Corleone. We got to keep Dylan clean, keep him out of the backfield, spring him it, and get going. So that's basically what to look for from Cincinnati without going too deep. Let's check some of these. Les Nessman has Cincinnati winning 2-1 in extra innings. Who's their cleanup hitter? Chai Rodriguez? Oh, God. Hey, no winner of the Buckeye Newshawk Award is thinking there's a 2-1 score in football. I take high offense at that, as does the Buckeye Newshawk voting committee. So you just keep that in mind. Will we get to 42 this year against a Power 4 or a Group of 5 team? I say yes. And I say yes for one reason, and that is Dana Holgerson. Now, he's got a tougher road to hoe than his previous incarnations as an offensive coordinator, where his team never finished total offense lower than 7th in the country, and he came in to take over. Now, he did come in and take over for Oklahoma State after they were 62nd in the country in offense, and led them to
number one in the offense. Who was the running back? They had like Kendall Bryant, something like that, ran for 1,500 yards. One of those 28-year-old quarterbacks threw for about over 4,000 yards. So yes, I think we'll get to 42 this year against a Power 4, against a Group of 5, and I think we'll hit it against a Power 4 team. He's got the quarterback he wants. He's got a talented receiver room. I think he's got a running back room that is just waiting to get out of the cage, and show what they got. So we'll see. Good question though. Let's see. What did Vince say? Oh, here we go. Oh, he's talking about the hammy injury. Yeah, transfer from Lindenwood, and that's from what I've read. Yeah, he's the guy. So anyway, real quick before we go, anybody hanging with us here, pop in there and give me your score real quick, and last call for comments. Gonna try and keep it relatively short. Quick note for next week, and I'll say it at the top of when I post it for YouTube and whatnot, and when I pop the article. Hour early next week, and it's only going to be about a half hour long. I have something I got to get away for later that night, so we're going to try and do about 7 to 7:30. Be done. Akron's the next game. I'm not going to go deep into Akron's roster, and if that is trouble, then I don't want to have wasted time on it anyway, because the depression will be real. Better not storm again either, fuckers. I'll tell you that right now, because you ain't leaving town. You're gonna that's gonna be in that contract. You're staying in the dorms Saturday night, and we're gonna go play that baby at 10 or 11 a.m. Sunday morning. No lightning running this time, Akron, you little bitches. So anyway, yeah, 7 to 7:30. We'll just talk over the Cincinnati game. If all goes well, then hopefully it'll just be a bunch of backpats and Corn Nation Triple H awards and whatever the hell I decide to do. we're going to have some sort of awards. So let's see what we got. We got some scores popping up here. Vince says 30-27. That's kind of where I'm landing. I'm landing in that neighborhood. The goes over, we don't cover. 28-13. I could live with a 28-13. James Boardman, welcome, James. What do we got there? 42-37. Oh, James looking for an old-fashioned whole go shootout. I like it. And wait, what am I gonna do? Andy and John are gonna TP someone's house and cruise the 4-H babes. I don't think John's coming down for it. I'll be there. We've got our camera guy Steve's coming in, and Aaron might be going. I think he's going. I don't know. We'll see. But we've got everything. I got my parking pass, which means I can go pick up my credentials, which means I get to check Arrowhead Stadium press box off the list. My God, one of these people going to discover, find me out and ban me for life. For what, I have no idea. I'm just paranoid and can't believe it sometimes. So anyway, any final thoughts? I think that anybody else got a score? Because I think some people threw it out up there earlier anyway. Oh, here, let me ask you this. It's also in the poll. Go in there. We've got a poll out right now. I don't think it'll close till tomorrow, or they should let it run tomorrow, and then I'll probably get it back Thursday. Tell me real quick here. Tell me who you think's going to be if there's a Husker player of the game. Who do you think it's going to be? The obvious. Is Dylan going to go throw for 330 yards on him? Hit the end zone 2 or 3 times, just carve him up and announce his presence with authority, as Nuke said in Bull Durham. Because there's the obvious pick. The one, and this is, disagree with me all you want. It's respected. It's even encouraged, and it's probably right most of the time. I'm thinking Emmett. I think Emmett is going to be a lot just for the receiving ability. I think it's going to be Emmett because going over 1,500 total yards easy. I think he's going to break our 1,000-yard rusher drought, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got closer to 2,000 in total yards per game, because you divide that by 13, I think that's a reachable number for him. We'll see. Man, there's probably some schools, so Penn State and USC is going to the hell you say, son. I think I threw in there either or both. Williams Nwaneri and Cam Lenhart go on a sack hunt. Get about 4 or 5 sacks, a bunch of hurries and QB hurries and hits. And I think I said Ja'Cory Barney. And the reason I said him and not Dane Key is Ja'Cory has a nice game receiving. I think he will have a nice game receiving. But what if he houses a punt and turns that 28-27 into 35-27, kind of like the Johnny Rodgers returning against Oklahoma in the game of the century. Maybe Ja'Cory becomes the difference maker that kind of gets that lead that seals the game. Dane Key's, I think I see Dane Key here. Fred says he thinks it'll be Dane Key. Oh, Vince going with Carter Nelson. Interesting. He's got the ability. I think we're just waiting for that breakout game. Let's see. Fred, I'm not. That's not what I meant by a poll. I'm not going to take my poll out. And then here we go. James Boardman, Barney, 210 yards receiving and 2 TDs. Holy moly! Well, I tell you what, he's got the speed, and if he is running the routes as hard and fast as that's what she said, Fred. If he's running those routes as hard and fast as the Holgo Monster says he is, look out, folks, look out. And let's see. And then I said possibly Sayre Wright has another 2 interception return one for a TD game. So I don't know. I'm curious. And so go ahead, go in that poll. It's just 2 quick poll questions, and then like I said, I'll publish that hopefully no later than game day morning. What do you say? I thought you were talking just versus. Yeah. I was just talking versus Cincy, just for Cincy. Overall for the season, EJ on O and Williams on D. Okay. Go with that. All right. Fred, in his own nice way, says good night. All right, Fox, got to walk the dogs later, skaters. Later, Fred. Always a pleasure. And of course, pun was intended. Don't lie. Dylan rushes for 100 yards, mostly from Minnie. Yeah, before the game when she breaks through the line, that doesn't count. All right, that's it for tonight, folks. Let me see. I want to make sure I get all my pictures up there. I think I did. Oh, I got one picture I want to show you. So Dayton Rayola, a week ago Thursday. That wasn't last Thursday. That was the week before, I believe. His Buford team beat another Georgia team. Eventually lost the year before, the number 2 high school team in the country. And then he made it was either number 5 or 6 on the Sports Center top 10 late that night. And I asked Dylan, he said, "Hey, did you any chance you got to stay up and see Dayton get the old Sports Center top 10?" And he was like, "No, I was in bed." He goes, he caught it the next morning, and he said, "That's so cool, man." He goes, "That's every kid's dream." I guess for the game, Dylan rented out the deck on top of P.O. Pears for the team, so the team could all watch it. And he said he was amazed that he got there thinking he'd be first, and there were already 20, 25 guys there. And sounded like Dylan was really touched that the team got together to all go watch his brother play on national TV. Oh well, for some of them, future teammate coming in next year, I believe, or no, maybe he might just be a junior this year. But check out our boy. Good God, y'all. these Rayolas, you definitely don't. These Rayolas, you don't have any trouble knowing that Daddy was a offensive lineman, do you? Or Uncle Donnie at Wisconsin. Good God, look at the calves on this one. And I watched some of him, and he seems he's got Dylan's calmness. The first time I saw Dylan play, and even seeing him now, he is not back there, with the Manning happy feet or whatever, which was just a Manning thing. Obviously, it didn't bother him. But he is just calm to the point sometimes of, oh my God, they're getting closer, get a little active. But there's some of that about Dayton Rayola I've noticed. So anyway, there's a little look at that. brick shithouse high school kid. But that was fun. That was neat. I'm happy for the family. Apparently, he's off, so the Raiolas are coming up from Georgia, and we'll also be at Arrowhead for game 1. So let's see what we got here. Oh, little Dylan poke there. Dylan rushes for 100. He goes 98. He's always 2 yards short. Be nice to QB1. No. All right. We're all done here, folks. Thanks very much. Fun first episode. We'll, like I said, 7 o'clock next week, and then we'll be back on the 8 p.m. schedule. And other than that, I got nothing left to say. Go Big Red. Anybody going to Arrowhead, wave up to the press box, and I'll pretend I see and wave back occasionally. And let's go get the dub and start off 1-0. Get this season going right. I am jacked. I'm not the trying to talk myself into it jacked. I'm the trying to calm down a little jacked. So we'll see. We're gonna get our first look, and I just hope there's not that gut punch from a game 1 against a P14. See, I still have some PTSD. It's not going away. Therapy's going well. Love all you guys. Go Big Red. We will see you here next week. Take care.